Mallory, I've got a problem. We've done like
Oh, I can't.
no, I'm no. This
How am I
it's,
gonna
it's a
greet
cold
you?
open. Mallory,
Did he do that? I was really like taking. I was building up on my energy. I was getting so hot for the hot open that we were about to do.
Mallory, it's been like 3 weeks of episodes, and you haven't commented on my beard once, and that just makes me sad. You know, guys have feelings too.
I'm sorry to men for my for my negligence and my continued disrespect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it hurt
You're noticing
your
it right now.
feelings.
I can see it in
I'm
your
s-
eyes. You didn't notice for weeks.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you have feelings. Sam. Good morning, Sam.
Good evening, Mallory. I've come.
I just
I've
had to
thrown
say
you
it.
off your game. Yeah, just you require the structure. Where this is season 2. There's no structure. It's avant-garde. We're starting in medias res at every episode, and so that's what I thought about the 7th episode of Beastars season 2. Anyway,
Sam, you're looking awfully furry today on your face. That's because today we're talking about Beastars Season 2, the furry extravaganza. This is a really good show that I like to watch and I like to think about. And I made you watch Season 1 last year. And I'm very, 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 very excited to talk about Season 2. It was the main reason that I wanted to watch any of this show to begin with. I've been so excited because a lot happens and it's really just all over the place. How did you feel about the second chapter of this psychosexual drama of just kind of just things happening that are like the craziest thing ever?
just things happening.
Every time.
This is a show at war with itself. Let me tell you, it is like we want to be noir yakuza story, and also we want to be like a high school drama, and the never the two shall meet. Like it is a wacky wild adventure that if you kind of like let yourself go a little bit and just like try and like enjoy the ride, you'll mostly have a good time. But Beastars kind of all over the place for me a little bit, but we'll get into that, I think, throughout. I was thinking back on our first podcast episode, and I was like, what did we have to say about it back then? And all I could really remember is you being like, yeah, maybe I'll have a furry arc and I'll become a furry. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say if you're not committed to it. Well, Mallory, it's been 6 months. Are you committed to it?
I've tried a little bit more to like, immerse myself. I drew my friend's persona a few times. But it just hasn't awoken with me, and I fear to tell you, dear viewer, that I don't think I'm a furry. I think I'm just a dumb bitch that wants to wear cat ears
I think I knew
at
that
Halloween.
6
okay?
months ago.
And I think you said probably very close to that exactly 6 months ago. And I thought, maybe if I just kind of dig in a little bit, I'll like find that, and I'll be part of the next trend, because like, trans people are out. What's the next thing, right? So I thought I could be part of that wave, and unfortunately, I'm falling behind.
Are you saying that like
in the trends.
4chan doesn't hate you enough already, so you needed like another layer of hate to take on another like tag, another identity?
It just feels boring. It's like you can have like, there's like trans people in like the MAGA movement. You know what I mean? It's like we're over it. Like there's this, in my mind, all trans people are already societally accepted.
I see.
So that's enough about me and my predilections. Beastars Season 2, some crazy stuff. I think that this is where, like, I think when you were like questioning the Yakuza stuff in the first one, I was kind of like holding back, like, oh buddy, you don't know how crazy this is about to get.
Well, because in the first season it comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, now
yes,
the Yakuza is involved, and this lion gang is going to kidnap one of our main characters. just because,
Yeah.
kind of.
It's like any like high school romance love triangle. Like imagine it just like throwing in a plot point, and suddenly the like central love interest is like kidnapped by the Yakuza, in a literal princess tower. It's some pretty crazy stuff. But I think that this series, as you're saying, like letting go a little bit and just kind of like going for the vibes and thinking about gender and not really thinking about, is it realistic whether a yakuza would have a random teen suddenly leave it. Is the rules of the yakuza that if you kill the boss then you have
Then
to
you
become
become
the
the
boss?
boss.
um, the funniest thing ever is them trying to like justify it at all. Like why why they would make him the boss of the Yakuza is the craziest thing ever. I love that it is the arc. I love all the stuff that
I'll say
happens.
right now,
They don't need to justify it.
Ibuki makes no sense as a character, and the series really thinks that he makes sense and really thinks that you're going to be like emotionally invested in this like car ride into darkness at the end of the season, and he kind of just never makes any sense, and it's a little bit more just on vibes, and I'm
Well,
like, this could be a cool character arc if we knew anything about this lion man.
I mean, it's
There's a little,
so I like it. I feel emotion in the car ride. It's more that like it's like you can't get worried about like why he's the boss of the Yakuza now. It's more about like, okay, this guy is just carving the like path of darkness of ultimate toxic masculinity, and he's got to go. What's the most toxic masculine thing that he could possibly do ever? And it's become the boss of a Yakuza. Therefore, that's the order of logic. It's like, it's not like what is something that a high school student could reasonably do. It's like, okay, he needs to be in the most cartoonishly toxic masculine environment in order to explore this character. Like that's what needs to happen.
I was trying to remember, like, what is Louis' deal? Like, why does he feel like he has to like punish himself and like become Edge, like become the darkness? And I went back and like looked back in his backstory, and I was like, but it feels like a jump to be like, I'm gonna shoot my adopted father in the head, or else he won't let me quit school. It's like, this is I feel like you don't have to go this far. I feel like it's an escalation, but
you can. There's certainly like different choices.
I don't hate it, because every time Louis on screen, he's either like about to shoot someone, or he's like walking around at night with like some nice jazz playing, and I like the vibe, but it's just a big jump from the first season, which does have a murder in it. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's just like he needed to prove that he was tough and cutthroat, and his real like, beyond any of the like extra backstory stuff that's added, like he was prey, and he had like a number carved on his foot, and his adopted father never told him he loved him. That I will say is probably one of my least favorite scenes in the show, in terms of like, it does this a lot, but it kind of gets away with it a lot for me, but like where it like explains the entire character arc to you within the span of the scene, rather than like, do the character arc.
There's a lot of that going on this season with everybody who's not named Legoshi, but we'll get there.
Yeah, like I think my least favorite example of that is the dear father being like, I never loved you or realized I loved you until this moment or whatever. It's like you just show one moment of him not loving him earlier, set up, and then show this, and it changes from your expectation. And then the viewer is invested, rather than him just sitting there monologuing like, I've never loved you until this moment, and now I
will say, like show back up when you're able to pull the trigger. Hard line, like
that. It is cool. I'll agree with that. I don't know. I think if you can drop all that, you can kind of like have a little fun. If you can, the biggest mistake people are gonna make with this show, that I'm not afraid of you making, because I think that
Is to care about
you
the
understand
plot.
the
Yeah, no, I understand. Let me hear it.
no. Well, there's that. There's that. That's the maybe more mean version of it. I think the biggest mistake you can make with the show, and you're not gonna do that because you understand that sometimes the curtains are blue because the person is sad, is that it's literally eating people, and it's literally endorsing like cannibalism, I guess, and it's literally like, morally being like, this is, is about sex. It's really clear. It's really like the subtext is constantly shoving in your face. Every time they talk about eating, they do a little turn of phrase about like relationship and flirting, dating, whatever. Is the most annoying thing is like, I feel like people watching the show and being like, the heck?
Why are they having these weird conversations about eating people? It's like, I don't get it. It's just
yeah. Why is the moral conclusion of his arc that he eats his friend's leg? It's like,
well, Mallory, I think I hear sirens in the distance. I'm gonna take a category early on today. They're banging on the door. I think it's the woke police. They're here. I have a little bit of a problem with the metaphor, right? Of the herbivore carnivore metaphor. Not so much the eating people.
There's a lot to fucking unpack.
Not so much the eating people as sex. I get that. I understand its desire. I understand it's like a top bottom dynamic, or like a man woman dynamic, or what have you. I get all that. My problem is when it goes to like the societal metaphor, and it's like the herbivores are scared of the dangerous thuggish carnivores, and like suddenly it feels like it's about race. But the carnivores are like, well, they're just naturally stronger and more like violent, and sometimes they rip off their friends' arms. And I'm like, what does that have to, like, why the race metaphor is getting a little concerning here, and it suddenly I'm like, this is written by a Japanese person in a country that's 97% Japanese. Like suddenly I become a little like nervous. I'm like, what are we saying about race relations here? Are you saying that like immigrants or like black people or what have you, like other races other than in our case white people or like Japanese people, are like violent? Like I'm like, what's the metaphor here? I'm a little nervous.
I think
now that's the most uncharitable way to look at it, but there are moments where I think it really does not work, and it's like, particularly that I ripped my friend's arm off. Like I'm like,
does not work with race.
No,
that's not good.
It does not work with race.
I think that's the like ultimately like trying to 100% put it on anything is not gonna give you a super clean thing.
I agree.
Least of all race. I think if you try to make this show about race, it doesn't really work.
I would argue the show itself tries to make it about race at times, and that's why, like, it's having its cake and eating it too, where it's like, oh, it could be about anything. Like, you can apply it to any sort of, like, us versus them narrative or, like, real-life allegory. But this scene's going to be about this, and this scene's going to be about this. And I'm like,
not necessarily.
Like, what are we saying here?
My opinion is, specifically in season 2,
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think it's about race.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like a lot of the societal stuff really feels like it's about like gender in season 2.
You mean the season where they're going to segregate the schools?
Yeah,
because it's not about
like,
race.
It's about
the
like,
segregation
gender,
season. Yeah, no, I no, keep going. Sorry, I understand.
They segregate by gender in schools.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
and then when it's like the like what do you call it, the shokusatsu, the carnivore, what are they calling it,
carnivores
like
and herbivores?
They have like they have a name for the like the devouring incidents. Okay. when a devouring incident happens, which is like heavily coded as like some sort of like sexual offense, um, the proposed solution is segregating
Right.
from. It feels very much like there's too many rapes on campus. We tried having men and women in the same school, but men are gonna rape, so we need to
apply like
separate them
the
again.
boys will be boys, or like the did you provoke him argument feels like it's applied to the herbivores like often, particularly Haru.
Definitely.
Like you were too promiscuous and you attracted this or whatever. Like that's like the evil thing that's being said to the characters that the show is going like this is wrong.
Yeah, and like she's walking around alone, all that kind of stuff. Isn't she afraid of being eaten? Like that kind of thing.
Juno,
I think that it's like
has some thoughts that we are privy to in this season. Where I'm like, Juno, I didn't know you were like this. Like, what's going on here? You got
Juno's crazy, girl.
Juno's
wild,
you know. What's going on?
I think I think that this show. Here's the thing. In season 3, it's gonna start to feel like it's about race more, and I'm gonna start to think it's more about race, and I'm gonna start to dislike the show a lot more.
Oh, good.
I think in season 2, there's nothing that really happens that feels like the primary reading isn't something to do with gender or like being gay. The way that I understand Beastars is I feel like season 1 is like crossing the barrier between men and women in a lot of ways. I think season 2 is a lot about being gay, basically.
Particularly
and
like
I think that season 3,
like male gay relationships, right? Like this feels like the dynamic.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the season where all the women characters leave.
I was going to say
let the boys kind of wrestle it out.
Tough season for Haru. Haru, very absent.
Rough looks.
And then in like the last 30
Yeah.
seconds, it's like, so you're not going to tell me anything about what's going on with you, Legoshi? That's correct, Haru. Will you marry me?
I have to defend
Tough.
you.
Tough season for Haru. Agency.
Tough season
gone.
for Haru.
Like she's just not.
I'm wearing these bunny ears, and a lot of like Beastars season 2 watchers are probably going to be questioning like who is this character?
Yeah, was there a
I didn't
rabbit?
know
In
that
this
there was a
season? I don't
rabbit
remember.
character in. Yeah, I think that like, and then season 3, like, I hope it's not about race. I'm probably going to rewatch it soon because the final season's coming out. It starts to feel a little bit more about race, and I think it really collapses a lot under that understanding of things. But I don't know. To me, yeah, like the segregation stuff. I do agree that like some of the like when they're yelling about like the Beastar, it's kind of like it's never relevant. The Beastars are never.
It's also like
relevant. Even when you meet the
what
Beastar,
is the Beastar? Is the Beastar like a black president? Like what is it supposed to be? Like is Obama the Beastar, Mallory? I don't understand. Is Zoran Mamdani the Beastar?
Justice Batman.
Like what's going on?
People want him to be. The Beastar is like social justice Batman. You finally meet the Beastar in season 3. It's never relevant at all.
Great.
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the Beastar.
Amazing.
So every time they're talking about the Beastar, you're like, okay, they're just kind of like wasting on-screen time. Yeah, Sam, we're talking a lot about the criticisms, and I would love to just talk about like homosexuality. I think that's just what I really want to get
Yeah, that's
into
fine, Mallory. I
with
want
this
to talk
whole
about
thing.
the Yakuza. I want to talk about, like, in a vacuum, many different, like, half episodes of this season are awesome, where it's like, we're going to save this stripper who's has this tragic backstory and is, like, a really interesting and complex character, but we're only going to meet her for, like, 15 minutes, and then she's gone, and we're going to, like, go in this back alley, and they're like taking pieces off of a lizard because maybe it will grow back, but it's also vaguely like there's a weird creepy guy in a wheelchair, and there's just like these diatribes and cutaways to like hard-boiled like detective-esque fictional Yakuza shenanigans, and then it's like, and across the fence, this cheetah is really worried about taking selfies with herbivores. And I'm like, this is a lot of whiplash with this season.
But it's about here's the thing. I think so this author Paru Itagaki has written Beastars and another series called Beast
Mm-hmm.
Complex, which is just short
Right.
stories. And I might have explained this to you in the previous episode, but it's like they're basically all they're named as if they're kind of like fables,
Mm-hmm.
like the cheetah and the lamb or something like
Right.
that.
And I
Like
like that as a
and
vibe of like we're just gonna
yeah,
have a side story. Like we're just gonna talk about
yeah.
this stripper who kind of wants to be devoured, and like that's an interesting character, and I'm intrigued by this person, and
Mm,
we're gonna briefly meet this character that's like a recovering cannibal that Gohin is taken care of, and it's like there's a lot of like, oh, that's a really like what's like little
cool
glimpses
little
into what this world
reflections.
could be and what this world does to characters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that if I'm being critical to be wrapping up like this our
Our brief plot
Beastars
discussion before we get
problems
into the gay we get into the gay conversation.
before we enter the big gay. The big
The
gay's
big
coming,
gay is
everyone.
coming.
Um it's on the horizon. I think that the like it starts to suffer under its own weight. I think that like season 1 is really strong with the Lego Shiharu story because
It
it's much
stays focused to
shorter
it, yeah.
and yeah, they're the focus, and it's like it hasn't gotten tired of just talking about them, and it's not introducing all as many side stories, or they just feel like more thematically kind of like aligned.
Hmm.
And I think around season 2 and continually as we go on, it's just like this author is wants to just kind of like talk about stuff using metaphors
Right.
and not like build a strong consistent world with everything like
Like at one
Legacy
point
is kind
cannibalism
of
becomes like a
yeah,
doping metaphor. Like Riz is like an athlete who's
right.
like on the honey and he's on the eating Tim and then it's like that's interesting, and then it's like a drug it's again a drug
Yeah.
metaphor with like the hyenas and the back alleys that Legoshi's fighting. Like it can just kind of be whatever you want it to be, and I think that weakens the
Yeah, which is cool.
it's cool, but it also weakens the
Mm.
like Legoshi Haru Louis of it all.
Mm.
Like that the
Yeah.
strongest aspect of this metaphor is in pertaining to relationships between men and women and hetero and homosexual relationships and like gender norms and all those things. When it's also a race metaphor and a drug metaphor and a societal problems metaphor, I think it becomes a little confused. But that doesn't mean that those moments aren't cool. Let me put it this way. I like the season 2 plot more. I like the stupid Yakuza soft jazz playing Nighthawks of it all. And I love anytime we're hanging out with like I'm the pharmacy doctor and I'm a herbivore, but I've made myself tough enough to wrestle with carnivores. Like all of that shit, while ridiculous, is really fun. And I generally like I think I enjoy
Yeah.
season 2 more, but I can if I step back a second, season 1 has like so much more to say about people and relationships and whatever. Compared to like
Mhm.
I don't know, the Riz Tim of it all is not strong enough to me compared to like the Haru Legoshi.
Yeah, I think to me I start to feel like I wish it followed a less formulaic structure in the sense of like Legoshi and Haru are like each other's like destined ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I I almost kind of wish we like it feels like the author wants to leave Haru in season 1, and I kind of wish we just did because like dragging her out in that way just makes you kind of, you know,
It's tough when
and
like
it
Legoshi's
lessens her character's impact.
So much of Legoshi's
Yeah.
motivation is Haru related, but he's treating her like an object, and the story is also treating her like an object. So it's not
Yeah.
confronting like the hypocrisy of how Legoshi's behaving. Right, Legoshi puts her on a
Yeah.
pedestal, and the show goes, great, she's on a pedestal, so now he has something to work towards. And it's like, that doesn't feel like what this show is about and what the show thinks women should be treated as, even though it treats her character really poorly in this season, which is strange for a show that had so much sympathy for a character like Haru in the first season. Like, she's my favorite part of the first season, and
Mhm.
then now it's like, but it's more important that Legoshi finds his inner strength to beat up a bear. And
Yeah.
I like the bear.
And
I like the like ticking clock of we're going to fight to the
Yeah.
death on New Year's Eve. Like, all that's fun, but it is a little strange.
Yeah. I think it is because it's like the story is about Legoshi's inner journey like the whole time. It's about
Is he going to become the Beastar, Mallory?
again, like, yeah, this guy who drank too much OD'd on respect women juice and can no longer like interact with
women. He went so far in the other direction.
Like, yeah, like just is like, it's too respectful of women, basically.
The whitest of
is
white
his
knights.
main problem. And yeah, and he needs to like go through this internal arc. I feel like it would be stronger if they were like, yeah, okay, Haru kind of like moves on, and his reward for completing his character arc is not getting the girl or the first girl he set his sights on, because that's like, but I think the story probably feels like it has to, because it's like, you know
what it reminds me of a little bit. I like.
Yeah.
I like Legoshi. My favorite Legoshi moment of this season is probably him asking Haru to marry him, because it's such a Legoshi solution. It's like, let's skip the preamble.
Yes, it's really
good. We
good.
haven't dated. Let's just get married. That'll solve everything. Like, it's in that moment the show and story is like, yeah, he is crazy. Like, that's a dumb thing. That's a dumb solution that like a 17-year-old would have. And he reminds me of Ko from Call of the Night in that moment, where it's like, you got a screw loose, and the story acknowledges that and wants to explore that you do have a screw loose, and like, why do you have a screw loose?
Yeah, no, definitely. I absolutely agree that that's a strong moment. Yeah, it's just the pain of like what could have been with Haru and what could have been if we had more female-centered stories in this series that like is a lot more progressive than a lot of anime in terms of like the depiction of like women who have had sexual histories at all,
right?
Like point blank.
Like every woman in most anime is like is an object of lust and also like a sexless being, and that's an annoying hypocrisy.
It's like this is the like, you know, more out there risque girl or whatever, but she's never actually had sex, is the most overdone tired thing or whatever. It's like,
it all comes back to like, you know, idol the culture, point is that or like they're all waifu culture. It's just like, I don't
right. Yeah, no, it's so that's something that I like in this series, that I do wish that it took more time to like emphasize that. However, it does that. It sacrifices that for something that is really great that I do want to talk about, which is that central Rispina Legoshi kind of thing that's going on in the heart of the beating heart of the series.
Mallory, can you explain Pina to me? I might be too heterosexual to understand Pina. I just don't get it.
Sam, you've made me so happy.
I'm glad.
Pina headcanons.
All right.
To me, Pina is a really good depiction, in my opinion, of a bisexual diva who is absolutely like, I don't know how to put this without being offensive.
Is Pina not gay baiting Legoshi and Riz? Like, am I crazy? Like,
he is.
Does he know he is? Okay, is my question.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. He walks in the room. His introduction is Legoshi and Bill are fighting, and they're the two big, strong carnivore boys like going at each other. He enters the room and he says, "Smells like men in here." This you have to understand how much he is 100% coded that way, definitely intentionally. He is this kind of like Milo Yiannopoulos like provocateur of like.
Didn't expect that to come up on this podcast, but sure.
He just like says the worst thing every time to get reactions out of people, and he's kind of like he's walking this interesting, cool line that I okay. I give everything this as a caveat of like this is like a generalization and stereotype of like something you kind of notice about certain people, and it's based on like the interplay of like societal structures and all this
Sure.
thing. This is not a universal. There are
We're talking
plenty of
about
very
we're talking about our
normal
fictional
bisexual and gay
alpacas
men.
and
Yeah,
and bears
we're
and
talking about this.
wolves for Beastars. Yes.
Yeah, this is a type of like queer man
Sure.
basically who is like I think kind of not feeling the weight of misogyny, I think in the same way that women are, but kind of is also like is outside of like that kind of like, you know, straight male kind of bubble
Mm-hmm.
that like, you know, you're the carnivores meeting on the rooftop type of thing, right? Like he's not part of that. Um and is being like is more feminine in all these ways, is concerned with beauty, but is also dating women and is also like
Yeah, he's like a Lothario type where he's dating women and can't remember their
yeah.
names. Is that because he's
Yeah.
not that passionate about the women he's dating because of they're women?
I think that's a completely fair reading as well, and I think plenty of people would probably read him as gay.
Mm-hmm.
I like him as bi just because it's fun
Sure.
and unique. I think that it's like there's something to him that is like he speaks very
Mm-hmm.
cavalierly about like eat me, I don't care, you know, like devil may care. He kind of plunges himself into these more dangerous. He's
He's
kind of like
defined by saying quiet
a,
things out loud
yeah,
in a series where everyone is
yes,
so internal and is so terrified to show their true selves, right? He may have things that he's
absolutely.
hiding from himself or others, but he, in comparison to Legoshi and Riz, who are both just like shaking in the corner, like wanting to like explain their whole backstory at all moments, but are incapable of doing so, he just walks in and is like, Riz, you ate Tim, right? Anyway, Legoshi,
Yeah,
you're a virgin, right? Like, it's just like he just comes in and just says it all, and it is refreshing in a
yeah.
way because so many of the characters are so like. Legoshi in particular is defined by his inability to communicate well. Although I think he has made great strides from season one, and I'm glad that it's not.
Yeah, he's
I'm glad
definitely
it's not a reset. Like I'm glad he's not like completely awkward all the
yeah.
time. Like he's able to have a conversation with Haru now, and that's like refreshing.
Mm. No, definitely. But yeah, no, it is a good point that Pina like is so like at odds with like the majority of the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I also think to me he's a very interesting. Again, making it unfortunate that like Haru and Dewey aren't part of the like school arc at
Right.
all. They're not in the drama club thing at all. But like he is really interesting compared to like Haru and Nui, who both I think have like, you know, Haru is like similarly kind of like I, you know, screw people's opinions of me, but she's like she gets bullied and is quietly picking things up, and she has this kind of like beaten down cynicism, at least at the start of season one. I think
Mm-hmm.
she like gets a little bit more hope back into her life throughout the course of the arc, but it's like you know, like, you know, people treat me as an outsider. There's really not any hope of like acceptance, like all this kind of thing. Like I'm just kind of like living my way, and that's how it's gonna be, and I just kind of have to like take my beatings. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
very kind of like accepted a really unfair situation, where Pina is kind of like I feel like playing with fire and tempting the fates a lot.
Yes.
Uh,
To the point where he
which
almost
is
gets
very
devoured.
interesting.
Um.
Yeah, and it's a fun character arc because he goes from like being just very arrogant and not afraid of the same things that Haru is, and you kind of there's a part of you that wants to be like, yeah, tell him Pina, but then like, you know, comes face to face with like this threat is real, and
There's also, I
realizes
mean, there's a
like in the
cruelty
moment like,
to it as
oh,
well,
I
right?
don't want to die,
He's
you know.
being cruel to Riz. Like he's not seeing Riz as
Mm,
a person. He's only seeing him as like a culprit, right? And so
yes.
when Pina gets like his comeuppance, it does feel justified, even though Riz is like the antagonist of the season, because Pina is
Yes.
being so cavalier with people's feelings. And that may come from like him
Yes.
trying to like a projection standpoint, whether you want it to be because he's a herbivore or because he's bisexual or gay or what have you. Like it comes from an understandable place of like you could see why this person has become the person they are or what they're aiming for in terms of like fiercely independent. But it's at the expense of playing with fire. And I like the moment where he's in the bathroom and he's like, "Oh, I do want to live actually. Like I'm not actually
Yes.
what I project, and I don't want to be a martyr, and I have been foolish, and now I'm gonna get killed."
Yeah. No, it's like he is like very it's such a fun arc.
Mallory, I need you to lay out for me like what you think the love triangle decahedron is in Beastars. Like I want to get on the same page with you, and I want us to like say for the record like this person likes this person is gay, what have you. Like I want to hear your take on it because I know some of it's ambiguous, but like I don't know where you stand with Legoshi. I have a feeling I know where you stand with Louis, but otherwise like let's go for it.
You're gonna be shocked what comes out of my mouth when I talk about Louis in this season specifically. I think that I like Pina as bi. The reason why I like Pina as bi is because he does pursue all these relationships with women. You could argue that it's to stroke his own ego and that he's not actually invested in them, and that's why he doesn't remember their names, and like maybe he's actually like only into men or something. Completely fair argument. To me it's just interesting. I think that Riz is 100% gay. I think that's like a really easy.
The Riz
I think
Tim
that most people get
metaphor.
That.
I'm not going to say that there aren't people like in the back row who aren't going to get it, but I think it's pretty hard to miss. There's so many scenes of Riz thinking back on the devouring and how he wanted Tim to react and his like unreliable narrator of it all. But yes, continue.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's pretty like straightforward. Tim seems like he was straight and was completely misread. Like that's the vibe. That's more like in how you want to.
No, it feels like a failed coming out. Like I'm right there with you. Like they're on the rooftop. It's sunset. Right. He's like, now we can be together is kind of the vibe he gives from like the I'm off the medication. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, and Tim reacts badly and is like shocked by the whole thing, and that kind of one thing triggers another, and like Riz's delusions kind of like catch up with reality, and something awful and horrible happens. I like Legoshi is whatever you need him to be for the thing. Like if you want to read him and Haru is gay because carnivore and herbivore things are like off limits, that's fine. But like this season he's like, whenever he's wrestling with Riz, he's talking about like they keep hammering home like, now you're gonna eat carnivore meat, so it's very clear who's gonna eat who.
It's also like we're gonna fight shirtless in the rain. Like it's so Yakuza, like the Yakuza the game series, which itself is like so it's so gay that it like comes back around to being straight. You know what I mean? Like it crosses the gay event horizon, and then it's like, and now Legoshi is like the straightest wolf of all at the end of it all.
Yeah. It's like the fact that you aren't actively fucking at this point, it's like, well, I guess you must be straight, because
when he's like slammed into the concrete pillar,
fighting in the shower,
and he just like takes this pose, and he's like, let's talk about our feelings, Riz. I'm like, you know, Legoshi, you are a hero. I love you. You're the best.
It's so good. That's really funny. Them fighting in the shower and the custodian lady being like, oh, their boys are fucking in the shower again. Having to walk
well,
out.
And there's such a like we're gonna really get rid of the evidence,
Yeah.
like we're gonna wash the blood away, and then they're gonna ask questions and we're just not gonna answer. We're just gonna leave the question. Like it is homoerotic without maybe being a true homosexual relationship, right?
Right. And then there's the like Legoshi and Louis of it all is like obviously,
which
it's
like my most controversial take of the season. I don't think works very well
Mm.
because they're so far apart for the entire season.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but they're at least framed like, destined lovers throughout the. Louis is similarly too far out of Legoshi's orbit
Mm-hmm.
in a way, similar way to Haru, but he at least is getting his own thing on the
Right.
side that Haru unfortunately doesn't
It's
get.
just it's
So,
the shoehorning in of them
yeah,
having to meet each other again where it it's a little too goofy for it to feel that like pivotal like for it to be worth Louis like throwing away the new life he's made and also willing to let him eat him.
hmm
Um the scene where like Legoshi is like taking Louis hostage so he can like I need to quickly tell you like every bullet point of what I've done this season so that you'll decide to come see me in the finale. It's a little like uh I could
yeah,
feel
it's
the hand of the
unfortunate,
author in those moments in a way that I think is awkward.
right? But yeah, I mean, like it's framed in that way. It's clearly like some sort of, and then I think that the big thing about like if you want to make a Legoshi queerness argument is basically the at the end where he's like labeled as a
A
like meat
deviant, right? Yeah,
offender.
no, it feels he's labeled as a meat eater and he's because of his association and his inability to like punish Riz completely or like just send him straight to the police. It's a fascinating choice and I'm excited to see the ramifications of that in the third season.
Yeah. That is the most interesting part of the next
Mhm.
season is the fact that he has like a record
Right,
and it's like it's literally like worded like a meat offender, like a sex offender. Like
right,
it's really on the nose, like and it's because he ate Legoshi's or he ate Louis's
right,
leg, even though it was
right.
consensual. And I think that's where the like gay metaphor really comes in because it's like that was like there's sodomy laws in all these different
Right.
places and like they're for different societies for so many years have been like it's like illegal to have these kind of acts, so it's like whether or not the consumption is consensual is a huge focal deal and ends up being the reason why Legoshi is able to like convince Riz basically at the end.
Hmm.
So it is really emphasized that it was consensual and yet he's still a sex offender. To me, the only like explanation for why that would happen is like that it's a gay metaphor, I
And it's
guess,
and it's a moment
basically.
where society is
Um,
wrong, the character is not wrong, right? Like
yeah,
Legoshi is
exactly.
morally correct to take Louis up on that offer, not just because he has like a bear that's about to
hmm
murder them both, but also because of like where they've
Yeah,
both
and he needs his
right, but
superpowers.
they've met their like they're having an emotional climax with each other where they've both like reached the end of their story up until this point and have come to a mutual understanding. And it's a
hmm
really fun moment where Riz is like herbivores and carnivores can coexist as he's about to get like attacked
Yeah.
by Legoshi and it's like okay that it mostly gets there. Like I've been very negative about Beastars this
Yeah.
podcast, which is what I tend to do with things that I've noticed this in the podcast in general. If it's something that like is so close to being really good, I like am even
mm,
more upset by it, whether the otherwise.
you gotta like dig into how exactly it fell short. No, I completely understand. I do the
If it
same
misses
thing,
the
and I've been
mark
doing it this episode too.
like by an inch, I'm furious. If it misses it by a mile, I'm forgiving. It's just really how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. If it missed it by a mile, then you just pay attention to it. But if you miss it by an inch, all you can think about is that inch.
Yes, it's like it was
It's just like,
so
oh,
close to a bullseye.
yeah.
Like we're almost there.
Yeah, but I think I mean there's more we could talk about with the Riz stuff, but you asked for my like sexuality takes.
Yes,
Do you want my crazy outlandish Louis take that is so
of
stupid?
course. Like what else are we here for?
I I think of Louis in trying to understand his arc through the lens of like gender. I don't think there's a way you can make his position in the Yakuza about race. That feels crazy.
I agree.
That doesn't make any sense. Um, so it feels like it has to be to do with like gender or sexuality. If you just kind of take the herbivores as like women,
Okay.
just generally, it's like he he's like a girl boss
Okay.
basically is the way that I've been thinking about him. Is or like the idea of like a woman that is like trying to succeed in a male world
and
and
thus
then
takes on
like
masculine
becoming
traits that are
mascotized.
like
Yes.
that's the girl boss trope, right? Is like woman has to fight harder for power, and in doing so takes on all the toxic traits of their male like people they had to overcome, and then it's like pull the ladder up immediately is like the negative girl boss stereotype.
Exactly. And just fully embrace like feeling the weight of all this like injustice and having seen it from like the point of view of being the disadvantaged group,
Mm-hmm.
but then like taking everything on their own terms and like succeeding on society's terms and like the you know charade and double
Playing the game,
speak and
right?
like
Like,
sacrifice of humanity.
yeah,
Yeah, which like comes to the I think the like puking the meat into the trash cans is such an amazing like thing that's happening there that you're like it's so visceral where
it
you're just
is.
like wow
I
like
I got a category for
it's
you.
good. Mm.
Directed by Takashi Koike. Now, normally this is like,
Yes.
wow, I love the directing on this scene. This is the opposite. I
Mm.
really don't like the pheromone effect. I think it's just it always like
Mm.
grinds the scene to a halt, and I think it's a little bit overdone.
It's very
It's
slow.
very slow. It looks kind of bad. I don't like it. I've never liked it as an
I'm not
artistic
going to defend
choice.
the
But even
yeah.
still, the Louis eating the steak and like he looks to the left and there's just like a bunch of like really eager, ready to like pounce on him at any moment lions. He looks to the right. It's the same scene. Like he is
Yeah, more
it's
lions.
tense. Like I enjoy, even though it really quickly becomes the setup being we're going to have Louis as like a Manchurian candidate. We're going to have Louis as like our fake figurehead for our yakuza, and then we all like are so charmed by his perseverance and his grit that he actually becomes our boss. It's a little
Yeah.
fast and it happens a lot off screen, but in the initial setup it's really tense, and I'm like, wow, Louis, you were in a bad situation
Yeah.
here, and them making him eat the steak is fascinating.
It's so crazy. I really enjoy it. It's like and it's this weird thing of like they're really kind of I earlier I kind of like threw out like the most toxically masculine. I think Louis is a toxically masculine
Right.
character, but I don't necessarily like by the time he gets in the Yakuza, like they're kind of like buddies and
He's also
like
already
they
like that before he joins the Yakuza. Like, it's like, I'm
yeah.
gonna take the
Yeah,
darkness in
exactly.
my
It's
heart,
him.
even though I was really like a
Yeah, he's
dickhead last
carrying
season.
yeah, he's carrying the darkness wherever he goes. He is a dickhead. He's like he's that type of character that's just so confidently and brazenly wrong that you just want to follow
Yeah,
him
his
to the ends of
defining
the earth.
choice in
But
the
I
first
feel
season
like
is like, I'm gonna let
yeah.
Haru get murdered by the Yakuza because I'm kind of jealous of Legoshi. So, like, it's not like, I guess he's murdering
Right.
people, so it's a little bit more extreme in season 2, but it doesn't feel much more extreme
Mhm.
than that first choice.
Right. No, it's like he's just in the darkness, but it's like weirdly the lions end up being like pretty
It seems
positively
like he's
masculine
having
in
a
a way that
positive
where they're
effect
like
on the black market, which I don't think is the intention of the
yeah, he
story. Like, I think the story is meant to be, oh, they're on the rise, and this is like Gohan has like one offhanded remark of like things are being shooken up around here, and like it's more dangerous than ever.
yeah.
But you don't really see them be like, you see them mostly being like frat bros with each other, and it's like, is this a bad impact on the
they
world?
weirdly they respect his strength and they're weirdly like are true to their values of masculinity
Yes.
rather than just being kind of like so like to me I feel like the bitter rotten toxic masculine heart of the world, it's like that none of the people actually value these like so-called masculine values.
Mhm.
They're just selfish self-centered people that are using that as a bludgeon to get whatever they
Right.
want and will completely
And we'll
right
throw
but
away their
that's
values
not the
immediately.
situation with the
Yeah.
lions. exactly. Yeah, but it's like I think that that's also like I do think it's a choice to make them like, they're not that bad, and Louis like reforming them by being genuine. I think like maybe the last boss was like more that type, like the your classic like CEO that wasn't actually true to any of his values, was just kind of
And was having a
selfish.
negative effect on the
And
organization, which is like an interesting wrinkle.
yeah, and like Louis is in like pursuit of this like ideal
Mm-hmm.
that is unattainable and that he can't maintain for himself, is actually like living it out in a way that's more genuine, that like allows like kind of everyone else to like relax a little bit and like behave more efficiently in a weird way,
Yeah, but
if
is
that
it
makes sense.
unattainable?
Because
Like it that's
yeah.
the thing about it. It's like it feels like you're
Mhm.
obtaining it if you just like get out of your own way a little bit. Like, did he really have to
the
quit the
yeah
Yakuza to go help Legoshi, or could he just have helped Legoshi? Like, it doesn't. Those are the moments where, like, what the story wants to get to emotional arc wise, uh,
hmm
we're just gonna have to, like, drag the plot along with us because we have to get to this moment
yeah,
no matter what.
right.
So, all the things we've set up, don't worry about that. Like, who cares?
Usually, yeah, it's like, yeah, I think that really, though, it ends up being kind of just about like sexuality at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Like he's just pretending to like, and then this is where the girl boss metaphor gets so
Yeah,
crazy.
okay, so back to it. What
Here's
is
the thing.
Louis' deal?
I like that I feel like you accepted that way easier than I thought you were, and that has made me a lot less worried about where I'm going with it. But here's what's crazy. There, to me, there's two versions. It's girl boss, or like trans mask trans man boss, who's being like the either the female face of this like male organization, or the queer face of this
Mm-hmm.
organization, or the trans face. But it's like, but he likes men at the end of the day, and he likes carnivores, and he has to admit that to himself, and like not being denied. Like the entire, from like day one, he's been like, I hate carnivores, they're like the villains. And he, like, that's when I was bringing him up in the Peanut conversation
Mm.
earlier, it's like that's something that he has in common with Peanut that I think is interesting as well. And I wish those characters could have interacted, because it's like, they both have that in common of kind of like looking badly at carnivores, but he like realizes like, oh, like I do love them in this certain way, and like I'm repressing that. So if you want to take it as like, it's basically him pretending to be into women when he's at the steak thing or whatever,
Right.
because the black market is a whole thing about like sex work or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and like, or um red light
Right.
district metaphor, right? So it's kind of, so you can fill in the rest of the blanks with what that steak scene is supposed to be, but that's crazy. But that's his problem, is that he's pretending to be
Boss,
into women
you
because
have
that's
to eat
part
pussy in
of
front of
the.
us or we won't respect you.
Thank you, thank you
Just
for.
say it, Mallory. We're an
That's
adult
basically.
podcast.
I don't know why I didn't say it. I don't know why I didn't say it, but that's basically what I was thinking. It's like, because I think that it's like part of the masculine thing, and that's what I was saying with like the unobtainable thing. It's like he can actually like do a lot of stuff when it comes to like the values and the core
Mm-hmm.
values, and like that's why he probably betters the organization and like earns people's respect, is because he does like have those like, independence, authority, like stick to itness, whatever you want to, whatever you, the list could go on,
Sure.
like leadership stuff, confidence. But he is into men and not women, or into carnivores and not herbivores
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But he needs to like pretend, he's into being eaten and not eating meat.
Right.
And it's like he needs to maintain that lie in addition to all the other stuff, and that's the thing that breaks him and is why he has to leave. And I think like from this point, he's going to continue to be like a good man, or like have these good masculine qualities. It's not like these two don't necessarily invalidate, or maybe he'll struggle with it, but it's like he has to be true to himself about this one thing. He can't like maintain the lie about that one thing, and that one thing, while it seems like it's small and it should be small, it shouldn't matter, is the thing that like undoes the whole thing. It means he has to
I
like
don't
leave the Yakuza and accept himself.
I don't
Like
understand
in
why
the
he has to leave
metaphor.
the Yakuza is my main problem. Like I get where you're coming from and I get where
Yeah.
the show thinks it's coming from. But the rules of the Yakuza are so ill defined that I think that it just doesn't
Right.
quite get there. Where like if it was really humming, the plot and the metaphor and the emotional arcs would all be like harmonious, and they just aren't. They kind of are with Riz. I think Riz works really well throughout the season. He's a
Yeah.
very intimidating antagonist. Like I love the when he's like kind of like before they say you're the killer, there's like many different scenes of like, oh, now we're suddenly like focusing on this bear for some reason. And it's like I wonder why, but him having that very like blank teddy bear expression while also being like the most violent character, he's very scary. Like he's an effective antagonist, and his psychosis is like fascinating and how it parallels. It's simple, right? It's Legoshi like, oh, this is what Legoshi would have been like if he had given in to his instincts and just like snapped Haru's neck in the first episode.
Yeah, and then lied and tried to cover
Right.
it up,
And like
because
been driven
I
crazy
do
by the
think,
lie.
yeah, yeah, I do think Legoshi's probably harder on himself in the sense that he's like, I could have been just like him. When I'm like, I think if Legoshi did that, like knowing who he is, I feel like he would have been like, take me to jail, kill me,
Right.
like. But like, I think that yeah, like the obvious like parallel. I agree. I'm really excited to talk about Riz because and I think that the reason why like Riz and Penis shine so much to me personally is that they're allowed to be short story characters, and I think that's like where this author really excels because it's like plot gets too tangled, plot kind of gets in the way, and you kind of have to like be like, what are the rules of the?
Right.
It's like it emotionally makes
Why is
sense
this
that he
council
has
talking
to
about a
leave the
Beastar?
Yakuza
Like-
right now.
Right.
You know, it makes the sense in the way that like a Nicholas Sparks book would make sense of like you have to like run like right now and like catch this plane,
Yep.
and you can't just like email the person later and be like I made a mistake or whatever. It has to be now. Like
Mallory,
I think it makes sense in that logic.
let me introduce you to.
I want to talk Riz, but
I want to talk Riz.
yeah.
Let me introduce you to Better a Pig Than a Fascist this week. And it comes to us from Gohin, the best character in this entire series, who I want. Anytime Gohin is not on screen, all the characters should be asking, "Where is Gohin? Is he safe? Is he all right? Can we go back? Can we put the camera back to him because he's just so interesting
Is
and
he cared
weird
for?
and cool, and like that's the like dark seedy underbelly storyline that I am so into because he's just got such a presence as like this not gentle giant but like a violent giant but who has like a heart of gold. I love him so
Yeah.
much. He is such a great character. While also not having to do really anything and not really make sense, and all of his training for Legoshi is punching him in the face. Anyway, he has a conversation with Legoshi early on in the season, before Legoshi's even found the killer. And he says, you can't attain peace just by punishing criminals. Life isn't that simple. That is my better a pig than a fascist. That unlocks the, like, justification for Legoshi not just calling the police as soon as he figures out it's Riz. Because treating Riz as just a murderer, it ignores what led up to his decisions. It ignores like the societal problem of it all, and like how he was walked into this situation with Tem based on his own circumstances of being like a doping athlete or what have you, or of having these pressures put on him to be so gentle that it like forces him to not be himself. Again, that gets a little messy with like, is this a race metaphor at times? But it is compelling, and I feel a lot of sympathy for this character who completely just murdered one person and tried to murder another.
Yeah. I think I love that. I think that's a really good way to like frame the entry into the Riz conversation, because it's like my better pick of the last just line is when Gohan says, "I hate the police." I don't even remember if he says that, but he basically
Yes.
does. Or Legoshi brings up the police and he just gets real quiet. It's
Well, he's
like,
talking about the I think it's a cheetah who is like a recovering cannibal, and he's
mm,
like, you don't turn her into the police, and it's like, no, that would go against my own sense of
right,
justice. And yeah, justice not to be
yeah,
found in the criminal justice system. They should probably change the name to the
yeah.
like the Department of War. um,
Yeah, no, it's like, I think that yeah, no, it's really cool that, yeah, like the way they find justice, and like, because also like even with Riz, it's like they're able to narrow down, like he verbally admits it to Legoshi, but that's not a lot to go off of. Like, if Legoshi even was to bring him to the police, it's like he only ends up getting sentenced at the end because he like admits to the crime,
mhm.
which only happens because he has a change of heart based on like seeing what Legoshi and Louis are like, their bond compared to like what he had with Tem. Um, I really like Riz's character. I think that like, and this is, I promised to you that I was going to bring up Persona. I'm just going to use it as like a reference point. For those of you who don't know, on this podcast, Sam has challenged me to play Persona 5 over the course of 6 months. And I just cleared the first boss battle, Kamoshida's Castle.
Mhm.
And basically, there is a character in that game that is very analogous in my mind in terms of like a, what I think is a good depiction of a like abuser, or a like, someone who is like violent or does something horrific things, and like how that kind of person actually is. I think a lot more often you get like the kind of, and they can have these sides to them, like with these characters in Persona and like Beastars, where they're like more mustache twirling and
Comically,
like,
like,
I'm gonna, yeah,
now I'm gonna become the
or
Joker. Like, yeah, no, I yes,
yeah, or like, I think in a lesser series, like the quote unquote like rapist character
Mhm.
would be like Bill,
Right,
basically, who is like the typically kind of dumb jock, like
masculine,
really defensive, masculine, kind of like
aggressive, yeah.
whenever, yeah, whenever people bring up anything about carnivores, he's the first one to be like, "You guys are being unfair." He's like always ready to like fight about that kind of thing. Um, and it's like those type of people do exist, but I think that it's like the level of psychopathy required to do something like that and then return to daily life and just kind of be like musk back up and like interact with people. It's like he's, even in all these scenes where he's like having like innocent scenes with like a little squirrel being like, "Can you crack the chestnut or whatever?" Which,
It was a
again, that
walnut,
felt
Mallory.
so
You
well.
clearly didn't watch the
That
show closely enough.
When we talk about like whether this is like a metaphor for like whatever thing,
Hmm.
scenes like that, "Can you crack this like
Can
walnut
you
for
open this
me,"
jar?
is so
Yeah.
gendered. It's like really, yeah, it's like, yeah, like, can you open this or whatever, like that kind of thing. He's not seeing any of these interactions at all as like, he's not getting the humanity of everything. Everything's on mute. He's not feeling any of the emotions because he has to like turn off all of the emotions in order to like keep up the
He
act
can't function
and
unless he's like
not,
compartmentalizing his
yeah,
crime, right? And so he's it
right,
literally like it gets rid of his sense of taste, which is such an interesting little wrinkle.
yeah, totally. And I think it's the reason like he can't form relationships. He's just compartmentalized everything, and he was doing that before this incident, so of course that's what he defaults to after the incident. But like it's gotten so much worse because he can't like, it's like the guilt,
Hmm.
he's completely avoiding the guilt. He feels zero guilt for the incident, but then the guilt seeps out anyway, and he's like self-harmed by like clawing at himself or whatever, which is like a really horrific detail. When he like rips off his
Hmm.
shirt, like, I think
Well,
it's,
I think what you were getting at with the
yeah.
Kamoshida of it all is like
Mm,
he's so creepy in how effective he is at being charming or being like just a member of normal
Yes.
society, but like
And just turning it back
the
on.
evil's like seeping out at all times, where like there's just like a menace to him, even as he is um like playing along and playing his part well. Like Kamoshida being like this charming teacher who is a former Olympian and like the star of the school, and people are all like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's the girls like him and the guys want to be him." But also he broke Ryuji's leg,
Yeah.
and it's weird that people aren't like, he's so charming that people aren't weirded out by that, but they really should be. Like, you know.
Right. And it's like I think the thing that I like about Kamoshida is the voice acting change that
Yes.
happens, the way that he talks to the other teachers and the students coming
He
in,
sounds
and then
really
the way that he
reasonable.
talks when he's when he's like and he sounds like nice, and he
Hmm.
sounds kind of sweet, and he sounds like maybe a little bit like,
A
you
little
know,
dopey, maybe.
like let's talk about what we're talking about is like performative
Yes.
males. Is like the whole thing of like this like, fear mongering that is like, I think just kind of like bullying men who wear earrings, honestly, if I'm being really honest. But I think that this is actually it. And the problem with a performative male or a performative anyone, a performative like person who does this violent stuff, is that they're a lot of times they're actually good at performing, and they
Right.
convince you, and you can't, like, it's not, you can't just like have this like sixth sense that's like sniffing them out all the time. It's like, no, like you have to be a detective like Legoshi and drink everyone's backwash
Well, if it gets to the
in
point,
order to find the
which
criminal.
is crazy,
You know.
if it gets to the point where you're like, you have such a psychosis to it, you've convinced yourself, and then you've become the ultimate
Right.
actor, because you like, you can't
Yes.
even consider your own crimes, and therefore you
Mm-hmm.
don't give off the signs of like you're a violent murderer or what have you.
Right, exactly. And I don't know, it's just so well, I love like the gradual mask slips that
Hmm.
he has. Like he starts like so buttoned up, and then he starts like, there's he's like freaking out when he's like cooking for his like friends
Hmm.
or whatever, like, hey, are you okay? And he's just kind of like monologuing to like the salt shaker or something. And like he
When him and Legoshi have the
there's a
standoff
part
in the drama club where Legoshi breaks the light,
yes,
it's like, that's, even though
yes,
it's not having anything to do with all the gender politics and social politics or whatever, it's just like as a plot moment, as like a like story and active like
mm,
tension, it's fantastic. Like, they're both talking around the fact
yeah.
that this guy is a murderer with everyone in the room, and it's like so scary, and yeah, it's a good time.
Like the fact that he's like picking a fight with Legoshi, the way he's being like, like the carnivores that committed crime should just fucking die, basically. Like he's like and Legoshi's just being like and like there's also a subtle I didn't even like realize this, but apparently like there's evidence to support that he was one of the people that voted for the segregation of the
Hmm.
carnivores and herbivores within the club, because there's like a for and against and everything, and he looks disappointed when like they lose. um and it's like, I don't know, it's just so. And then I think it comes again, like we mentioned that penis scene earlier in the bathroom that I adore, like the like sucking on his finger scene or
Right.
whatever, where he threatens to heat him, where it's like there's an extent to which I think like Pina has been like so bold and playing it like this game, and I think part
He's
of the
toying with
reason
his
why he
heart.
was able to be, yeah, toy with him and all this stuff, and I think part of the reason he was able to like do all that is that he, to an extent, like like the gravity and reality of like this violent person, the fact that this person is stronger than him and can hurt him, does not hit until that scene. And it's just so well done, of like him realizing like how Riz like doesn't break, and it's the same
Hmm.
person. Like when Riz sucks on his finger and everything, he's still smiling the entire time, he still keeps up the polite tone the entire time, and he does it and then he leaves, and like, but
I
Pina
have
in
made
that
a
moment all of a
mistake.
sudden realized like,
Yeah.
yeah, like this was bad, and so crazy. Then you got, and then the other thing that I think Persona and Beastars do really well is the like must lifts where it shows like they seem completely unaffected, and then they have that moment of like, curse you.
I'm
Because
very
it's like,
affected.
because how could you
Yeah.
not? Like, yeah, like the moment where Pina is on stage and is like declaring like, I will fight back death, and he completely goes off script, and everyone's like, what the hell? And then they're like, amazing, like you're doing so cool. But he's like calling him out or whatever, and like you see Riz like blank face, and then like as soon as the lights off him, it's just like it gets to him, but what moments like that show, it's like there is true emotion in there, and he's just so good at like, I love a character that's good at lying. That's always such an interesting
His
character.
dead-eyed
I don't
teddy
know.
bear stare is just like a great act
Yeah.
of character like design. Is good.
Absolutely.
It's easily my favorite part of the season.
Yeah, no, really terrifying. So cool.
So cool.
So crazy.
So cool, so crazy. Beastars
Man.
got some good ideas. Got some cool stuff. There's a stew,
Yeah.
and like there's some ingredients in this stew that I don't really personally like that much, but like there's other parts where I'm like, oh, the boldness of the flavor, and there's some stuff. The food metaphor, yeah. I'm just gonna like,
I really wish you could like think of like the food that would be like.
yeah. What do I not
that
like in a
has that
stew? I was
thing
like,
that
I
you're-
actually like most things in stew. I'm like, what?
It's hard to go wrong with this because you put the stock in, then
It all tastes
just
like chicken
like,
stock.
you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like when I get a sandwich from the convenience store and it's got cheese in it, and I don't really want the processed cheese, but I like everything else in the sandwich, so I'll still eat
Mallory,
it.
we're
That's what it
basically
is.
an anime podcast. I think our fans like processed cheese. No offense. I'm
gonna
one of
alienate
you.
our fans by by staying away, by not staying with craft.
Indeed.
Um, I have two other things. I think. Oh, okay. One is a really minor thing because we were talking about
Hit me.
food. Is that I think it's really good that they do the whole sex metaphor with food when they do the scenes where they're showing delicious steak meals, because you're like, oh, you get it, you understand like why the carnivores are acting out. That's good. That was a really minor point. That was nothing. I shouldn't have counted
Mallory,
that.
why is this season's like fight scenes like so well animated and choreographed? It doesn't need to be. It was that like
It's crazy.
it's particularly the Legoshi becoming a black market Batman for a minute arc. There's just a lot
Yeah.
of like well timed like kicks and punches, and I'm just like, this is. I didn't know you had this in you, Beastars. Because I remember the first season having some pretty awkward animation at
Yeah.
times, and I feel like season 2 is a lot more fluid. And I just wanted to like give it some flowers there.
It's
as I've been
weirdly
beating up on it for an hour.
Yeah. It's weirdly like a shonen anime. Like it's like he's leveling up and fighting it. Like he had to fight Bill, then he had to like shoot a Yakuza guy in the head one time, and then he had to like fight Riz or whatever. It's like he's like leveling up his power level. I love those scenes so much.
Purely
and
on
I love
a
the like
power level.
Yeah.
Level, I guess. I like the idea that like his
Yeah.
jaw strength is getting weaker, but he's learning to fight like a herbivore by like letting one of his limbs be
Yes.
like lock a jaw in place so that the carnivore he's fighting can't hurt him otherwise. It's just interesting. It's weird.
Yeah. No, it's so crazy. Apparently, like, I don't know if this is expanded more on in the manga, but apparently the, like, bug thing was, like, he basically becomes a stand user for, like, 20 seconds and then it doesn't work.
It's doping,
Because
right? Like it comes back to like the drug metaphor, and it's yeah. He's a little too concerned about eating the bug, considering how quickly he decides to eat Louis' leg. I did think that was a little strange.
I think that the bug is like the gate. Like basically, Gohin is trying to dissuade him from doing what he does, which is becoming a monk that like never that like abstains from. Abstinence is the only way to respect women. That's basically like Legoshi's thesis.
And Gohan's like, that's not quite right.
Throughout the season. Gohan's like, you can like still be for justice, whatever, but like, you know, you can't like you shouldn't have to like be so fighting your desires at every turn.
Trying to be perfect is not
To
gonna
me, I
is
think,
gonna result in catastrophe.
to me, yeah, exactly. I think the big philosophical conversation he has with the bug about its life and everything and the decision to kill it, and then after he's eaten it, like he's talking to the moth and it's explaining how he needs to be respectful of the life by like fighting for it or whatever, is more about like this is the gateway so that he can eat Louis's leg. Like this is building
Right.
it's a little strange and
It's a
still
little
is
out
like
of
a pretty
nowhere, but I
big,
enjoy
like,
it. It's also the closest the show actually gets to becoming
yeah.
about vegetarianism, where it's like this is the honorable way to consume meat, like in the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, did you know that did you know about the pun? Oh, I wouldn't have explained this to you because it would have been a spoiler. So, like, like Oshi, like
Hmm.
Oshinoko, like Oshi is like you're like a fan of something.
Like my idol. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so he's a leg Oshi.
So is that
So that was
what does that mean?
that's the entire
You
point.
idolize a
Is
leg? What do you
he
mean?
ate a leg. The entire his entire arc was about eating a leg the whole time.
Is that real, or are you just making that up
That's,
on your
that's
own? Is that like a real?
a lot of people have said. I don't know if the author ever said, yeah, that was an intentional pun, but a lot of people got really mad when it was his entire arc was about eating a leg.
Incredible.
They were like, wait a second.
It's more of a foot. Let's
This
be
guy's called
honest.
Leg Eater. It is more of a foot.
He's not called foot
It's like, I
Goshi.
think it's like knee down. For Goshi. The other thing, this is a really minor thing I want to bring up. You mentioned earlier the like mini episode about the like leopard
selfie.
taking selfies with like her little sheep friend. I don't know that the author was necessarily like consciously being like, I'm gonna write a story about a trans woman. I've never felt more fucking seen by
Aw.
anything in any media ever. I really just like because
Well, because she's so
it's so specific
yeah,
about
just some of her long
body
limbs
sizes
and her small head, and yeah, it's
yeah
I get where you're coming from.
yeah and like and the situational awkwardness of like being a trans woman hanging out with a cis woman, and it's like having these like weird like a lot of it is like her overthinking, just being like, how do they see me? Is she just seeing me as like a prop to put in her pictures
Right.
because it's trendy? And that is a genuine threat or thing to be like worried about, but also her like getting so wrapped up in her head, she's like not seeing the friend in front of her and taking the risk by actually inviting her out and actually like building the friendship. The way through that anxiety was not to like just become distrustful of all the herbivores. It was to like, get to know the individual, and turns out this individual is like chill and normal and not using you as like a social media prop or something
Right.
like that.
I like that little
Um,
detour. It's
you know.
just awkwardly placed in the season where it's like, look,
It
Oshi
is.
and Riz are about to fight to the death. Anyway, I think
Hold on.
it cuts from that scene to like Louis watching the guy get like gelded in the back alley deal, and I'm like, these are two different shows that are just slammed together.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's like, yeah, and it's just a lot of it just works better in short stories. But it's interesting. I think that like it's hard to say how much of like every single thing is like really consciously intentionally written with like X queer theme or X gender theme or whatever.
It feels to me like the
or
author's like
X-race
jumping
theme
around
even.
for what they're interested in talking about in the moment, in the arc, at
Right.
that point in their life, which is fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
And I think everything's fine and there's no problems with it. And I think that it's like cool that to me was a scene where I'm like, I don't know how conscious the author was of like that kind of experience that someone like me would have had in writing that scene. I'm like, as a third party, like I don't know if you have like a more objective, because I'm just gonna read in my experience into
I like that
things,
reading. No, like I don't.
if you would have taken a different way.
Even if it doesn't like there is value in making a generalized story where you can put yourself into the character,
Right.
right? And I think the awkwardness of these two women, whether one of them is a trans woman or not, like the awkwardness of being like, I don't want to be treated as a prop in a friendship, can be it can be whatever you want it to be, and that's not a negative. That's
Mm,
it's a feature, not a bug. Is how I see it.
right. Yeah, totally. No, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is like I feel like even if that was not her intent when writing that, it's cool to have stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I seriously don't know how many like, and it's stuff that's hard to talk about. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because like I mean I do my best, but I like it's hard to talk about that and not start to just sound like you don't like
Or
women.
come
You know what I
across
mean?
as like,
Because it is kind of like
yeah, come
paranoia
across as paranoid or
or
insecure
cis
or what
women.
have you. But like it's all wrapped up
Yeah.
in like every trans, not trans, cis, not cis. Like everyone has insecurities. Everyone has embarrassments. Everyone has like there's a. I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring Nier Automata into this. Didn't expect that in this podcast, but there's a line that I think about all the
Hmm.
time from Nier, which is like, life is a constant stream of embarrassments, and that's just like it just cuts to the core of everything in my mind, where it's like a great piece of writing where
Yeah.
identity and sexuality and all these different things, like it all just stems from like the same place of like, I want to be liked and I want people to like me, like, and I want to like and be
Hmm.
liked, and that's, you can apply that to android robots that look like French maids, or bunnies and wolves, or what else have we talked about today?
Or high school gym
High school gym
teachers.
teachers and personas. That one gets a little weird.
Yeah.
Or bears and llamas or lambs.
Yeah.
What is Tim? What animal is he? Alpaca?
Tem is an alpaca,
Gotcha.
I believe. Yeah.
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 It it added.
Well, Sam.
Well, yeah. Well, Mallory.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Well,
Sam,
Mallory.
keep talking.
No, it's I want to rank it. I think we're ready to rank. I think we've kind of said our piece on Beastars season 2.
Yeah. We've talked about, bears, otters, um all these different cool things that are going on in the world of Beastars season 2. I hope I've conveyed to you why I get so just like goo about it. But how good are you getting
I
about
don't
it?
get
Where's your
as
goo
good about it
meter?
as you do, and I think
Mm,
some of that has to do with like, I have writing problems about the show, and particularly
of
I
course.
really butt against like, we're gonna take some things really seriously and we're gonna really like deep dive into the psychosis of these characters, and then there's everyone else, and everyone else is kind of like a prop to keep things moving. Like all the minor side characters, I think, kind of suck and are really annoying for the most part.
Mm.
I never like when a school setting anime just has like everyone be really unreasonable all the time, and it it bums me out, and it just makes me feel like, well, this is just so that we can have like this situation so we can move the thing forward. What, like, I got minor problems with the series. That doesn't mean the series isn't doing a lot of cool things. It's just not. It's not. It's just not quite.
It's not
It's not
clean.
clean. That's a great way to put it. It's like the destination we get to is cool, but it's a bumpy road throughout in a way that like
Mm.
I, because I'm annoying, can't get over at a lot of the times. If we're being
It's
honest
fair.
here.
It's fair.
Um,
We're yeah. Yeah. I think I like to your thing. Like if like there are scenes that rub me the wrong way. I think the dear father one I mentioned. I think there's like the snake introduction.
that was my diva of
It's
the
notable
evening.
that
Didn't
we
even
didn't talk
mention her.
about it.
She's abandoned after
Really?
3 episodes.
Mine's Pina. I just it's more that like she exists basically to be like Legoshi remember that there was a
Right.
murder. Oh yeah, when it just feels like it would have been pretty cool writing to like make like it's all there. Like he doesn't want to confront having to have a relationship with this girl.
How about instead
So
of
he's
introducing
gonna
this
avoid
weird
that.
snake security guard who should be doing the job herself, have it be about Haru and Legoshi and their relationship, and have that be like the driving force to have him feel like he has to
Yeah,
resolve this
because it's all
unresolved
there.
problem. Yeah, it all could be there. There's just it's a bumpy road, but
Yeah.
it's still, I think, at the end of the day,
Mm.
maybe not with Haru this season, but with other characters, it gets there, right? And it is
Yeah.
satisfying. Another way to put that is, it gets on base. Is B tier.
B for
B for Beastars. Made that
Beastars.
joke 6 months ago. Still relevant. B for Beastars.
Still relevant. All Beastars will always be in the B tier. It's not gonna take a dip in season 3. I promise you
Can't
that.
wait. Mallory, I want to challenge you this week. All right. I told you a lie. I think a week ago I was like, I'm probably gonna make us watch Rebellion because I'm still on that Madoka train. I changed my mind. So I hope you didn't want.
He's off the Madoka
I'm off
train.
the Madoka train. We'll get back on the Madoka train because I cannot believe how much I enjoyed rewatching it. Um, Something I know about you is that you really don't like horror and that you're pretty squeamish. So I want you to watch like the most violent movie I watched last year. Not because it's violent and scary, but because it's really interesting and cool, and I have not stopped thinking about it. Mallory, how familiar are you with the term? If I said the term bone temple to you, what would that mean?
You told me what was this? You did briefly kind of explain what
So,
it's 50 days?
there is a zombie series that started 20 years ago with the first movie, 28 weeks, or no, 20, sorry, I already fucked it up. 28 days later, which is basically like, it's The Walking Dead. It's a guy, I think he's a bike courier, is in a coma, and he wakes up 28 days into like a zombie apocalypse, and it has some really cool, eerie scenes of him walking around in abandoned London, and it's Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer himself, just wandering around being like, oh, everything's abandoned, and then suddenly zombies. We're not watching that. There's a sequel, 28 weeks later. How much more far gone is London and England as a zombie apocalypse continues? And it's also, the zombies are fast and it's scary, and so the things go to shit really quickly. We're not watching that either. I haven't seen it. Last year, I walked into the movie theater and watched 28 years later, having not seen the other two movies. And honestly, I didn't feel lost at all. All the setup I just gave you is all you really need. I want you to watch 28 years later, having not seen the previous two movies, because you don't really need them. It's a whole new cast, a whole new set of characters. And we're going to talk about it. And you're going to be annoyed at me because it's a very, very gruesome movie. But there's some really cool stuff in it. And including a Bone Temple, which is the sequel, 28 years later, The Bone Temple. But the Bone Temple isn't the first movie, and you'll enjoy it.
Wait, so we're watching. Okay, so
I know it's confusing.
So those of you who like are having trouble following, so this is the series is called 28.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's no way to. It's the 28 something later, basically the series.
It's 28. No, it's the 28
Yeah.
series. This is what it's called.
Sure.
And then the movies are called Days, Weeks, Years, and Years Bone Temple.
That's correct.
Which is the funniest thing. You explained this to me. That made me laugh so
I know.
much.
So the 28 years.
But we're not watching.
Is both a follow up
We're
to
not watching
Days and Weeks, and
Yeah.
it's also the start of its own 28 years trilogy. We're watching the first of those. The second one's in theaters right now, and I don't think you'll be able to watch it. We're in Japan. But the first of that trilogy, the planned trilogy, is 28 years later, followed by 28
It's
years
like-
later,
yeah.
Bone Temple. Unfortunately, you can't see the Bone
It's
Temple
like
yet.
if-
You'll get there.
It's like if Mockingjay was 3 parts instead of
Yes.
2 parts. Basically, it's what this series was for the Hunger Games. Is so. Were you? I'm a little confused. Were you saying that the Bone Temple does appear
The Bone
in
Temple, the
the first
location,
year's movie?
appears in 28 years later.
Okay.
But the movie, the
I mean, if
follow
we're
up to that
getting to the
movie is
Bone Temple,
called The Bone Temple. And when you watch this movie, you're going to be like, I want to see more about the Bone Temple. And then they announce the sequel, and they're like, the sequel's called Bone Temple. And I'm, at home going, fuck yeah, I love the Bone Temple. I'm all about it. Let's go back
Whoa.
to the Bone Temple. It sounds
I
really
think I love the
stupid,
Bone Temple.
and it is really stupid. But it's also kind of awesome. And I've been thinking about it because I watched the follow up in theaters a few weeks ago, and it was really good. And the first one's really good. And I even went back and watched the original movie, and it's okay. But anyway,
Compare the blood to Zombieland.
the violence is much more extreme, but also there's not as much of it. It's a pretty
Okay.
gruesome movie. Like, it is like as realistic as you can get when it comes to like zombies ripping people's faces apart. I think there's going to be some scenes where you may like, watch through like your fingers. Some.
I watched like I watched Zombieland. I had my eyes on the screen for like 20% of Zombieland, and that's a kids movie.
That's tough.
That's a movie for children.
That's tough.
So
The
so
parts
I'm a little
about this
worried
movie
about...
that I'm most interested in talking about are like the kitchen sink drama of it all. It's a coming of age movie, and it's like
Okay.
a lot of like character stuff.
That's cool.
It's a little gruesome at times. I'm definitely going to be testing you with this choice, but I want you to understand.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
You haven't given me like the threat of this podcast this whole time has been that I'm gonna have to watch some actual horror
Yes.
movies and like grow up.
Were you
one of these
disturbed? We
days.
watched Sinners, right? How tough was Sinners for you?
Man,
If the movie's really good, you just don't worry about it, right? Like, that's kind of the thing.
that's kind of true,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think the like lighting was so good. It wasn't like milking the grotesqueness of it
This
in a way.
is and isn't. It is grotesque, but it's intentional. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, if it
it's
doesn't,
like,
it will.
Like I feel like Sinners was very like sexy Michael B. Jordan vampire. Like the
Sure.
blood is not like you're not thinking about like, oh god, like ripped up limbs or whatever. You're like, oh, the blood is like a a appearance enhancer, if anything. I was squinting. One of them kind of is it like
Cornbread gets like his face
Cornbread
like half
that-
ripped off, and he looks really
his
creepy
face-
when he returns.
Yeah, I couldn't really like look at Cornbread much after that point. I was kind of squinting.
This is going to be a
whenever he
challenge,
was
I
on
think,
screen.
is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But I think it's worth it. Now, I'll tell you right now, the follow-up is more gruesome, and I don't know if we will watch that on the podcast, because that one has a lot of, like, people getting flayed alive and stuff. Like, that one's pretty tough.
This will be a litmus test.
This will be a test,
Yeah.
for sure. I haven't revisited it since I watched it in theaters last year. They did a really cool thing where the movie came out, and then the second one came out, like, 8 months later, and it was like, I'm right back in it. It was
Wow.
like a TV show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this franchise is fascinating, and I've become a fan like overnight. So I'm gonna subject you to that. Yeah, we're visiting the Bone Temple by watching 28 Years Later 1, the most confusing titling of all time. But that'll be next week.
28 years later, Sans Bone Temple.
Yes, 28 Years Later, colon,
Looking
no
forward to it.
colon. It's just the first one, and by the first one I mean the third one. Don't worry about it.
Until then, Sam, I hope that you have a great rest of your 28 days.
Mallory, I'll talk to you again in 28 days, which is not true. I'll talk to you again next week.
We're not doing the podcast for a
Yep.
month.
Bye. It's gonna take you a month to get through the movie.